bringing you back old school with that sound, man. I miss that intro sound, but when you do these videos, they don't let you do the intro sound. So, anywho, hey, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourself. So today we've got something really interesting to talk about. I think it's super important. It has to do with our future and what's getting put out in the media and what's getting put out into the bookshelves of our children and potentially our children's children if books are ever around anymore after that. So today will be about the book What Do We Know About Alien Abductions, which is directed towards children and is on the Walmart bookshelves for ages 8 all the way up to 12, although any child walking down the child section can see it. And it looks like it's directed towards children as it has a cartoon-like picture of a UFO picking up a cow into outer space. If you'd like to see it, feel free to check us out on Spotify. I'm about to show it on the page as we speak. So let me zoom in here and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at it right now. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see, let me make sure I get it on here. You can see it right here. It's got this cartoonish-like UFO, and then it's picking up a cow from a pasture. Okay? Not to mention all the other cool things I have in the lab. As you can see, I've got Sasquatch behind me. I've got the Jumpman astronaut tapestry. We've got Beetlejuice, which is coming out. Beetlejuice number 2. Got Rodman back there. The CIA operative went to North Korea. We've got the militant alien, as well as Frankenstein, as well as a couple others. So, hey, anyways. So, you see this cover. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I went to my local Walmart, and I said, wow, this is really effed up because I have my kid here, and kids get scared of the easiest things, right? They get scared of spiders, ants, all kinds of silly things. But imagine if you're a kid and you go and you're walking around and you're like, holy shit, these movies about aliens are real, and now I got to really worry about them. And holy shit, it's picking up one of my friends, the cow, and it's taking it up into the spaceship. That's fucking terrifying for a little kid. And now you're a parent, you're caught off guard. Of course, I run a UFO podcast, so, it's probably nothing for me, but I'm probably going to tell my kids anyway. But it's like, holy shnikes, man. Like, if you're just a regular parent, you're just going to blow it off, probably. You can be like, oh, it's just a joke, ha, ha, ha. Well, what happens if this gets into your kid's hands in the library, okay? Library buys one of these or has it donated, and the kid says, hey, man, I'm interested in paranormal, stuff, even as a little kid, and they see this book, and they borrow it out, and they read it. Well, if you look you can go on Amazon, and you can look at this book. There's a button that says, look inside. Well, let's take a peek inside, shall we? Okay, very well. So if we take a peek inside, let me zoom back out here, we shall see that there is about 6 pages that we can read. Okay, let me refresh this because it's like crazy. Okay, here we go. So we're going to look inside, and when you click look inside, you'll be able to click through a couple pages, and you'll be able to see what it actually has in store, what it actually has on the inside the book. So what do we know about alien abduction? Well, the very first page, the illustration, has a person going up into a UFO. Oh, my God. These poor kids. So it's written by Kirsten Mayer. Kirsten Mayer is not just a UFO writer. She's actually a kid's book author. So Penguin Books is actually the production company, published company that put this out. So they probably just tapped her to write this book so that, they have somebody to write it, and they have an illustrator by the name of Tim Foley. And they dedicated it, interestingly enough, to Mulder and Scully, and then to Bud. Bud is probably Bud Hopkins, the famous UFO researcher. But this just came out last year in 2023, okay? This is brand new stuff. They have a lot of these books. What do we know about Bill Gates? What do we know about Barack Obama? What do we know about Michael Jordan? They have a bunch of these. And most of them are okay. But when you have what do we know about alien abduction? And if you look at the classification, it actually states that it's in nonfiction. Now they're saying that this is real. The kids are saying, "Hey, teacher, what does this mean? Nonfiction? That means it's real." And they're going to take every word for word. Now, if you're saying, "Hey, lockdown, man, what are you saying? You do a UFO podcast. This is right up your alley. This is what you want." Well, yes, but my question is, why are they directing it at the children and not towards the adults to teach the children? And the government still hasn't said that it's legit. But yet we have publishing companies out here publishing that it's nonfiction, and they're making kids' books about it. That's the dichotomy of the world that we're living in. But if we look at the first couple of chapters, you can see the first chapter is what do we know about aliens? The second is what did we first see, or when did we first see alien life forms? And then they go into the Betty and Barney Hill case, and then they go into the Travis Walton case, and then they have the visitors arrive. What happens during an alien abduction? Holy shit, man, dude! I can't read every page because it only allows me to go up to page 6 on the internet here as a preview. But I'm going to go back to Walmart and see what they have in this entire book, because if they have like needle implantations, alien implants, they're taking ovum. I mean, like, you're going to put that in a fucking kid's book? Are you serious? Because if you are, this is a big fucking problem for us parents. We're going to have to be like, I mean, I'm not saying you would want to boycott an alien, truther book, but Jesus Christ, man, you got to be careful with what you're putting out there. You're going to put this stuff out there for 8 to 12-year-olds. We don't consider them adults. You can't just give them adult material and expect them to absorb it and not go absolutely bonkers. They also have extraterrestrials on screen. That might be a little bit lighter reading. But then it says, looking for proof the truth is out there, timelines, and a bibliography. So when you put a bibliography in there, that lends credence to your story, lending itself to being more infiltrated into the kid's mind and believing it. This book is 112 pages. It's got illustrations of Betty and Barney outside of their car in 1961, one of the very first well-documented UFO stories based out of New York. Now, they talk about how they got, how they drew the ship when they got home, and then they showed actually a really cool 1986 Colonel H.G. Shaw of Stockton, California, who claimed that his horse and buggy came across a landed spacecraft, and 3 tall, slender beings emerged from the metallic spacecraft and tried to force him and his traveling companion on board. It's a great story. It's one of the very first stories out there. And they have some great illustrations in there. They also talk about the Foo Fighters. They talked about Kenneth Arnold. They talk about Mount Rainier, Washington. So they give kind of a broad overview. They don't give a super detail yet. I'm going to see how far this goes. Okay, so it only gives me about 10 pages. I was like, ooh, how much can I get in here? But even on the back, it asks, what do we know about alien abductions? And there's check boxes. It says, a report that someone has been taken by extraterrestrial beings, check. The subject of many conspiracy theories, right? They always got to throw conspiracy theories in there, check. And then that it is an event that thousands of people have claimed to experience since 1950s, check. And it says it's all of the above. Find out more in this illustrated book. So they put that there's conspiracy theories in there, but they also put that it's an illustrated book. So I want to show you another book because I think that this might be the reason why they're disclosing. They're trying to open up disclosure to children. So I'll take a break real quick, and then we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So the reason I think that they're starting to disclose this to children is because they're trying to get it out there. They're trying to get kids to say, okay, I understand it. Maybe get kids to ask their parents questions. Makes sense. There was a book in 1993 written by Dolores Cannon. It's right here, right in front of you, called The Keepers of the Garden. It's got a UFO and it's hovering over Earth, and there's the moon in the back. Dolores Cannon is a wonderful lady who's done tons of research. You might already know a lot about her, but she's written a few books, and she is a hypnotic regression therapist, and she's helped plenty of people. Plenty of people regress through time and space, and she's very, very knowledgeable about it. And so with her hypnotic regression, she's regressed a bunch of people back through previous lifetimes. But what she did expect to eventually happen was to find out that some human souls ended up on other planets. Some other souls ended up on spacecraft, and that's what they were doing hypnotic regression for, and that's why they came to her in the first place. But I did want to cover this really quickly because I think that this is so important that this might be one of the reasons the Blink-182 guy with Tom, whatever his name is, that made the To the Stars Academy, can't sleep at night, and why the government's keeping it from us, right? So, in one of Dolores Cannon's subjects, his name is quote-unquote Phil. He was taken by a few Greys, and they were doing some experiments on him, and there may have been some other aliens on board. He wasn't 100% sure. But in this case, he was stripped down, he was brought into a lab, and this is where it gets insane, okay? So he states that it's Dolores and Phil talking back and forth to each other. So she says, what do they need a sample of? He says, I don't know. So they're starting to take samples of him. I don't want to know. I don't want to do this, but I do because they need it. And she says, and they don't tell you what they need it for? And he says, I didn't ask. I don't want to know. Do you still have your clothes on? He says, no. They were removed in the hallway before the room that he went into. How did you feel about that? He said, it didn't bother me. Something about the clothes. They were dirty, contaminated, not to be taken indoors, inside the ship, but not inside the room. And what did they do after that? This is where it gets wild. He says, lots of love. Lots of love. And then he pauses. Then he says, they did something with my head. I don't remember what. Some pressure device or some sort of stimulation. I don't know. Some sort of energy. They removed my consciousness with an exclamation mark. They removed my consciousness. Okay? Somehow removed it. They're showing me how they can remove your consciousness from your body and put it in a jar. We've talked about this before, but this is first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience. We'll keep going here. So that your body can be worked on or with no harm to your consciousness. No need for worry. I don't know how. This must have been the sensation that Phil described in the dream of the giant thumb pressing him out of his body. It was sort of like saying, here you are here, you're not there. I still feel pressure in a jar. Did you feel like you were in a jar? Yes, I was in a jar. I don't know how. This is really fascinating because Bob Lazar talked about how he came across some confidential information, some highly classified info, and a book that was about religion, which is the highest classified piece of material. And he stated that book stated that aliens see us as containers. Interestingly enough, they put Phil's soul into a container, into a jar. While they worked on his body, they were gathering samples. Now this is where it gets even more down the rabbit hole, because they wanted to get samples of him to utilize and create a better species of human for another Earth. Yeah, I said it, another Earth. Okay? You need to take a minute. You need to take a moment to process that. Take a break. We'll be right back. We'll finish off the rest of this. Okay. All right, we're back. So the rest of the story goes like this. He says, Dolores asks him, can you see your body? given the fact that he's still in the jar. Can you see your body? Yes, it's on the table. The thing was sticking a long silver needle into my back, and I didn't feel it. I'm not sure how this was done. It's like the body had a feeling, but the consciousness didn't. The body remembered the feeling, but not the consciousness. They separated the two of them. Did they do anything with the body? They did more after the needle. They cleaned the body with some kind of light. They radiated it with a purple light, almost like ultraviolet, to remove the germs. Then more tests with the eye, tongue, ears, lots of probing, poking, checking, looking for something. I'm not sure what. DNA, to use the DNA. Why do they have to do so much probing to do that? And this is where Phil's voice changed and switched out of excitement to more of a frightened tone, and took on a mechanical quality. He apparently was resorting to channeling, maybe an alien or maybe just a reference guide at this point, in order to disassociate and locate the information. Then he was able to become detached and remain unemotional. Since it was more comfortable for him to remain in this type of state for a while, I was used to seeing him do this, so I recognized that it was happening. He proceeded to explain the reason for the examination, and Phil said it was to check for defects, to check for abnormalities. They want the best specimens they can find to use us to repopulate for the second coming. The second coming, the second Garden of Eden, the second population, the new beginning. And Dolores asks, on Earth? And Phil says, no, for another place, another Earth, a different place. They need the bodies. They need the genetic stock to repopulate another planet, to infuse desirable combinations or forms of DNA to populate another planet, to make way for those who would choose to migrate after the shift. So there will be a more familiar environment for them, and they would therefore have another body very similar to the ones they left behind after the change. Is someone telling you this, or are you able to pick it up? Phil says this knowledge is free and available for any who would ask. There would be no ownership. It is simply available to whomever would choose to accept the idea. And he's picking it up from their mission, and their mission is that they're scraping different places of his body. They're using it for different reasons. They're using the samples to grow cultures, and they're gathering all of these pieces so that they can create a new stock, a new group of us to repopulate another Earth. So the question is, are we on a prison planet? Are we on a lockdown universe by the aliens? Are we in an alien ant farm? Are we merely containers, like Bob Lazar said? Well, let's keep going here. I just want to read a little bit more and see what they have to say. So he states that they are of a group mind, a telepathic consciousness. All is one and one is all. Dolores said, but you said you had the feeling of being in a jar or being in a container of some kind. That is accurate. It was the removal of my consciousness so that the awareness would be contained quite separately from the physical body to lessen the trauma. Isn't that kind of what we call disassociation, identity disorder down here on Earth? We used to call it multiple personality. Now we call it DID. So is it an actual container? I'm unaware that you can contain a consciousness in something, Dolores says. I thought it was similar to a spirit and it couldn't be confined. Can you elaborate? He says, quite accurate. The consciousness is simply a form of energy, and therefore it can be contained within an energy field. That is to say, a container which is constructed of the proper dimensions and elements of energy. There is a sustaining function given here which nourishes and somewhat anesthetizes the life force to the trauma of the experience. This is not a simple three-dimensional glass container. However, it's an analogy for a container. So this is really, this is really mind blowing, man. This kind of tech basically is taking your spirit out or your soul, whatever you want to call it, out of your body and putting it into a container so that they can do their experiments and not cause you emotional damage. If you've seen that meme. So if that's the case, then this would be the whole reason why, or one of the main reasons why the government doesn't want us to know about this. And maybe one of the reasons that the government allowed Penguin Books to put out this book. Because let's face it, this is still bizarre to me in my mind to put out a book for kids about alien abductions. It just kind of rings wrong. As an adult, it's hard enough to accept the fact that there's aliens abducting us, but to put it out there for middle-aged kids, it's almost, I don't know, man. It's weird. All those classes when you're coming of age in high school, and you're getting health class and you're getting PE and you're learning about yourself and you're learning about, becoming an adult. This is like a passing of the torch. This is like something like that where you're becoming an adult. You need to learn about this. Maybe this is going to be actual intellectual school classes. I have no idea. But to put this out there, it's just really, I don't know. It just seems weird. Seems almost like it's pre-thought out, pre-created. They have disinformation campaigns out there. Maybe they have information campaigns out there as well. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. What do you think about this? Do you think it's cool that Penguin Books is putting this out? Do you think we should? I would never want to close down the clamps on getting information out. I just don't know if it's right for putting it out for age 8 to age 12. By 12, 13, they're probably, getting into books anyway that are weird and wild. I started doing my own UFO research when I was really young, but not probably till 12 or so, maybe 13. I would watch shows, stuff like that, movies, but I didn't do real research. I didn't really think aliens were there, and I didn't really believe it until I started doing some real digging later on. But I think that, I don't know, this is something to think about. I'd like to hear what you think. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Please share this. Please follow, share, subscribe. I love you guys. I want the best for you. I hope you enjoyed, reviewing this a little bit and kind of talking about it and getting it out there. And hey, go to your local Walmart. Go to the book section. See if you see this book in the kids section. Tell me what you think. How do you feel? How does it strike you? How does it make you, does it make you want to say, hey, man, I want to buy this book for a kid, my kid or, a grandkid or a niece or nephew? Or would you not want them to see this and be like, this might be a little bit much on, too early? Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, guys, take care of yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Take care and lock down your universe out. Peace. Go follow, share, subscribe. Peace.